Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. If Manchester United lose to Watford after the international break, will Solskjaer be sacked? Well, he shouldn't be in a job now. It's already been confirmed that Solskjaer is expected to be in charge for the game against Watford. Manchester United are prepared to give Solskjaer a little bit more time. He said not so long ago that Manchester United have no plans to replace Solskjaer as manager despite the Man City defeat. Yesterday, Fabrizio Romano gave us an update on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's situation. He said the Man United board have held no talks with other managers and still support Solskjaer. And he said Joe Glazer is the only one that can change the situation. On Monday, Solskjaer flew back home to Norway with his family. That stirred some suggestions up. I think some United fans may have presumed that Solskjaer could have been sacked. The other day, like I updated you, it said Manchester United consider sacking Solskjaer following player revolts. The pressure has increased on Solskjaer following back-to-back home defeats to Manchester City and Liverpool. Manchester United have only won one of their last 6 Premier League games. After the 2-0 defeat to Manchester City, Solskjaer said that Man United were outclassed by Man City, and he also said that the Man City defeat was a big step backwards. Solskjaer should have been sacked after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. If we'd have sacked him after that game, I can assure Manchester United would have got Antonio Conte. Can't get Conte now because he's Tottenham's manager. He said after the Liverpool game that Solskjaer had been given 3 games to save his job. And he's only won one of them 3 games. Obviously beat Tottenham 3-0. Drew 2-2 against Atalanta. Ronaldo saved us in that game. If it weren't for Ronaldo, we would have lost that game. And we recently lost 2-0 to Man City. If Solskjaer really cared about the club, he would resign. But obviously Solskjaer's not going to resign. He refused to resign after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. If Manchester United sack Solskjaer, they'll have to pay him £7.5 million because in the summer he signed a new 3-year contract. And Manchester United made a mistake giving him that contract. And a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. I hope Manchester United do not stick with Solskjaer until the end of the season. I think Manchester United want a replacement first before they sack him. Now, there's been a lot of managers on Manchester United's agenda. Now, obviously, Zinedine Zidane has been spoken about, but Zinedine Zidane is not interested in the job, so we'll forget him for now. There's still a lot of narratives coming out regarding Brendan Rodgers. Apparently Brendan Rodgers has verbally agreed to become Manchester United's new manager, but his preference would be to wait until next season. Erik ten Hag has also been mentioned. I think Manchester United should consider appointing Erik ten Hag but apparently he's reluctant to leave Ajax. He's been at Ajax for 4 years and he's won a few trophies with Ajax. You've got to admire the work he's done at Ajax. Obviously before Ajax he was at Utrecht. He's managed Bayern Munich's reserves before. And he's managed Go Ahead Eagles. Pochettino, he's still being mentioned as well. Pochettino is highly rated by Alex Ferguson. Ralph Ragnick, he's been spoken about. Fabrizio Romano's recently given us an update on him. He said Manchester United did turn down Ralph Ragnick. There's been talks of him anyway, coming in as the interim manager until the end of the season. So there you go. If Solskjaer does get sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because Man United have already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. Man United finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after like 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy 1 good season at Man United because he did win 3 trophies in his first season. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and in general the board weren't backing the signings that Mourinho wanted to recommend in. But in regards to Solskjaer, I think he's had long enough at Manchester United. You know, Solskjaer's been in charge of Manchester United for nearly 3 years. And this season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. And I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer. I expected Man United to do well this season. Obviously because Man United have got a very good squad. Plus Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year. Made 4 signings. Brought Heaton in on a free. Brought Sancho in. Brought Varane in. And re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. And Man United spent around 141 million in this year's summer transfer window. And Solskjaer's enjoyed like 5 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And the board backed Solskjaer in the summer transfer window, and they still continue to back him. Obviously, John Murtough's backed him. John Murtough is our director of football. Darren Fletcher's backed him. Ed Woodward has also backed Solskjaer. On my recent video, I give you the news on Ed Woodward. It said Ed Woodward is in talks to stay at Manchester United under a new role. Almost, or should I say everybody, thought that Ed Woodward was gone for good at the end of the year. As you all know, Woodward is refusing to sack Solskjaer. Well, it actually got announced back in April that Woodward was leaving Man United. Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club. And the Glazers have also backed Solskjaer. But Manchester United are not doing well this season. Solskjaer is not capable of winning trophies as Manchester United manager. He's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. The expectations are far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager. Ole has lowered the standards at the club as manager, and Solskjaer's in a position that he shouldn't be in. I hate to say this regarding Ollie, but I'm just being realistic, and reflecting on what I've just said, a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. Of course, we all wanted Solskjaer to succeed as Manchester United manager, but obviously he's not going to, because Solskjaer is not good enough to be Manchester United manager. Like I said to you a while ago, whatever happens regarding Solskjaer, I will always adore him, because at the end of the day, he is a club legend. He endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. And the reason Solskjaer has lasted as long as he has done is because he's a legend of the club. Solskjaer had a proven pedigree as a player for Man United because he won a lot of trophies. But unfortunately, Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. Solskjaer's tactics and team selections have been questioned. Now, reflecting on Manchester United's poor performances, you can't just put all the blame on Solskjaer. You know, I think there's also players that have to take responsibility for those poor performances. Ollie got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. Ole knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job, and not only that, he knew it was going to be a difficult job despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. To be honest with you though, I expected Solskjaer to do far worse than he has done, so in that aspect I am shocked. If poor performances and poor results persist, Man United won't finish in the top 4 this season, and it'd be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4, because if we did, we wouldn't have Champions League football for next season, and plus it would persuade our star players to leave. Manchester United have got a very good team, like I've said, but the problem is we're not playing as a team, we're a team of individuals, like a lot of pundits have spoken about. You've got the likes of City, Liverpool and Chelsea that all play as a team, and that explains why they're in a much better position than Manchester United at this moment in time. Manchester United have not been the same team since Ferguson retired. And a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when he retired, which it has done. No one's going to replicate what Ferguson did. You know, Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30-odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. You know? But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Ferguson was a very long-serving manager. He enjoyed a 27-year managerial tenure at Man United. The only mistake Alex Ferguson made was recommending David Moyes when he retired, but the reason he recommended Moyes at that time is because they were both Scottish. And Ferguson obviously seemed to have a lot of time for Moyes. Before Ferguson, Man United weren't that good, you know. We weren't good under Ron Atkinson, we weren't good under Wilf McGuinness, we certainly weren't good under Franco Farrell. We got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974, which is 40 odd years ago now. But the club at the moment, from top to bottom, is in a predicament. And like I said, a change of manager is needed. And also, I'd say structural changes are needed as well. Earlier on today, I gave you the news on Paul Pogba. Manchester United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in January. Well, at least we can cash in for him in January. It's better than letting him go on a free next summer. Now, Pogba suffered a thigh injury in France training on Monday. So, reflecting on that, Pogba is out for 2 months. Even if Pogba was fit, he wouldn't have been able to play against Watford after this international break, because Pogba's suspended. He's only got 1 game now, though, to serve in the league out of the 3-match ban he got. Pogba got sent off for the 2-footed challenge on Naby Keita in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. Pogba did play in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta the other week, and he was very, very poor. Reflecting on that, he got heavily criticised. But Pogba did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. You know, so far he's got 7 assists. Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga. You know, he's been relentlessly linked with Real Madrid. He's been linked with his former club Juventus. Also, PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him. He was offered to Barcelona, wasn't he, earlier on in the season. Inter Milan have been in for him before. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid 89 million for him, and he's won 3 trophies at the club so far, and this season is Pogba's 6th season at the club since he rejoined. So yeah, that's the news on Pogba. Man United are going to offload Matic next year, I think. You know, Matic doesn't really get in the team. And he's not one of our first choice midfielders. But sometimes he still gets his chances. Surprisingly, Matic is ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. Matic has been at Manchester United for like 4.5 years. We got Matic from Chelsea back in 2017 for 40 million. Van der Beek, I think he's going next year, because Van der Beek isn't getting enough game time at Man United, and reflecting on that, I haven't had much of a perception on Donny Van der Beek. But I think Solskjaer should start Van der Beek, especially in the Premier League, because he is a good player. Prior to the Liverpool game, Solskjaer did make an admission regarding Van der Beek. He said Van der Beek is frustrated and disappointed over his situation at Old Trafford. And earlier on this season, he said Van der Beek was furious with Solskjaer. Well, earlier on this season, Van der Beek told Solskjaer his best position. He reckons he'd be best served operating as a number 6 or as a number 8. Van der Beek's agent is said to be working hard on finding a new club for his client. Van der Beek's endured what a difficult 19 months at Man United. This season is his 2nd full season. Got him for 40 million with add-ons included, and he's got a contract with Man United till 2025, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Lingard, I think he's going next year. Well, Lingard obviously wants to run down his current contract, because earlier on this season it said Lingard rejected a new Man United contract offer because of 2 players. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires at the end of the season. ESPN said earlier on this season that Lingard was a target for Barcelona and AC Milan. He's been part of the club though for a long time, but doesn't really get in the team like I said. I think Solskjaer wants Lingard to stay. The second part of last season, Lingard endured a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. Juan Mata, he's also going next year, I think. Juan Mata's contract at Man United expires next summer. Earlier on this year, Juan Mata signed a 1-year contract extension. I can't understand why we extended Mata's contract for the further year. Juan Mata doesn't really get in the team, does he? And he's lost that yard of pace in his aging up. We got Juan Mata from Chelsea back in 2014 for 40 million. He's been at Man United for 7.5 years now, so he's been a long-serving player, and at the first part of last season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offered to play in Saudi Arabia. Martial, I think he's going next year. You know, Martial doesn't really get in the team. He's no longer good enough to represent the club. Martial came back from injury not so long ago. He was out with a knee injury for a long time last season. Before the start of this season, though, it said Solskjaer refused to sell Martial as he remains part of his plans. Solskjaer seems to have a lot of trustworthy in him, because don't forget Solskjaer was the one that gave Martial that number 9 shirt. The best season I recall Martial having was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. We got Martial in a deal worth, 57-58 million from Monaco back in 2015. He's been at Man United for like 6.5 years now, and Martial's got, 3 years left on his contract. I do think that Cavani's going next year as well. I think Telles is going next year. Jones, Bailly going next year. I think Dalot's going next year. And I think Dean Henderson will go out on loan, because obviously Dean Henderson's not getting his opportunities because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was the cup game against West Ham. Don't forget, at one point though, Henderson was out with COVID for a while. So there you go. Like I say, Manchester United have got some very, very good players. You know, you've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. You've got Mason Greenwood, that's a talented player. You know, he's still young, got a lot of development in him. I can assure Greenwood's got a long-term future at Man United. You know, you've got Rashford, that's a good player as well. You've got Fernandes, that's an exceptional player. You've got Cavani, that's a good player. You've got Sancho, that is a good player overall, but he's been poor so far for Manchester United. You've got Van der Beek, that's a good player, but like I mentioned earlier, I haven't really had much of a perception on him. You've got Pogba, that's a good player. You've got Shaw, that's a good left back, but he hasn't proven how good he can be so far this season. Like I said, Luke Shaw was superb last season. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. Telles is a decent left back as well, but Telles doesn't really get in the team. He'll only play when Luke Shaw's not available, so that's why I think Telles will leave Man United next year. Don't forget Telles was out with injury earlier on this season. You've got Varane, that's a good centre-half. Done well in quite a few of the games he's played for Man United. He's had a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. Varane is out anyway at the moment with a hamstring injury. He's out for a month. He only just come back from a groin injury not so long ago. You've got Bailly, that's a good centre-half as well. I certainly prefer him to Lindelof. But Bailly doesn't get regular game time, does he? Obviously because the signing of Raphael Varane in the summer transfer window, and plus Solskjaer seems to prefer Lindelof ahead of Eric Bailly. Harry Maguire's good when he wants to be, but he's been very, very poor so far this season. And he's been worse since he's come back from that calf injury. And then you've got Wan-Bissaka, that's also a decent right back. Defensively good, but he's got to get forward more. His positioning's got to improve. His crossing's got to improve a bit more. So reflecting on that, there's aspects of his game that have to improve. You've got De Gea, that's a very, very good goalkeeper as well. And Dean Henderson's good. So yeah, it is a good squad. There's obviously inconsistent players, you know. Fred's not good enough. I don't think McTominay is good enough, but I'd probably say McTominay needs a bit more time. Fred and McTominay play a lot of games together, and I've heavily criticised Solskjaer for him persistently selecting Fred and McTominay in the centre midfield. You know, Martial's not good enough. I don't think Lingard's good enough. Lindelof's certainly not good enough either. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.